episode is about the amazing nature of the everyday woman. Because frankly speaking, nobody like woman. Simi has a new song out, Nobody Like Woman, and women ought to be celebrated each and every single day. Here are two interesting facts about women. Did you know that women spend nearly 1 year of their lives deciding on what to wear? Now, it seems like women sometimes cannot make up their mind, but from the stylish auntie to the fashionable style icons and even our slay queens. On a more serious note, we want to feature three amazing women and showcase their stories. The first woman we want to feature is Juliet. Juliet is a single mother, and her story is one that will inspire you and encourage you to keep on going. The second woman we want to feature is on a life mission to end sex trafficking, not just in Nigeria alone, but around the world. She also happens to be the daughter of the late Archbishop Benson-Idahosa. Now, my third lady of the day is a hustler. She does it all. She's a mother, an entrepreneur, and she has a popular hospitality food business called Gourmet Twist. So these three women are what we have for you today, and stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
Are you ready for?
Today's episode is about the everyday woman, and I want you to meet our first guest. Her name is Juliet. Juliet is a single mother, but her story is one of resilience. Nobody like Juliet. Juliet, welcome to the Tegan show.
Thank you for having me on the Tegan show.
So who is Juliet?
Juliet is a woman, a girl, a mother, and a friend.
Juliet is the woman next door that we can rely on.
Anytime.
So as an African woman, do you feel that there's a need to always have things figured out?
Yeah, there's an adage I grew up with that behind every successful man, there's a woman. And as an typical African girl child, you are brought up with the mentality of taking up responsibility, irrespective of your emotion, irrespective of how you feel about it. You just have to bear it and make something good out of it. Every situation you find yourself.
Wow. Now, 9 years ago, you found yourself in a situation you could not have even imagined. Tragedy struck your family. Do you mind sharing with us what happened?
Yeah. I remember vividly November 6, 2013. We all woke up with a beautiful day plan, and it was all going well till 11 p.m. when he screamed up, the pain in the chest. And by the time we rushed him to the hospital, the story was different. 9 a.m. the following day, he was certified dead. Wow. For no reason. I find it difficult to really accept that he's no more. But every day, I wake up with the encouragement that things are going to be better.
That optimistic mindset, it's not something that you can buy. It's where does it come from?
Yeah. One thing that helped me through this journey has been, one, the God factor, two, the presence of my daughter, seeing her grow, seeing her achieving milestones, seeing her doing stuff kind of encouraged me. Also having the right supporting system around me. You know, people to talk to, people to share my views, my goal, my aim, and the support I get encourages me to keep pressing.
How old is your daughter?
She's 9.
If we ask your daughter, how would she describe her mom? What would she say?
Wow, she'll tell you her mom is her friend. Her mom is her prayer partner. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We do a lot together. Yes, I'm a dance partner. She loves dancing. The reason I'm not fat. All thanks to her. Yeah.
You mentioned spiritual support and also having a support system. Now, your in-laws are very supportive. Tell us about that story, because people always think that in-laws are. No.
Well, my case is kind of different because from day one I came into the family, it's been love. Even when I wasn't married, I wasn't married to their son, it's been love. And I was received with open arms, despite the different ethnic belief. I'm from Akwa Ibom, he's from Kogi State. I mean, it's been awesome right from day one, even to the point of his death. My friends keep asking me, how come you have just your in-laws around you? It's like, you don't have a family. I was like, no, I have a family. I left the family and I got into a family. Till today, there isn't any strain in the relationship. Rather, it keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger.
It's been almost a decade now, and throughout that decade, you've reinvented yourself. You've done work in the legal field. You've done innovative work with different, clients, different organizations. As a single mom, there are so many barriers to achieving success. How do you find that way to go forward?
Yes, talking about success. Success is what you define to be success, not what somebody else sees as success. And something I always tell myself is, as a woman, I don't want to fail. As a mother, I don't want to fail. As a sister, I don't want to fail. And every aspect I represent as a person, I don't want to fail. And I think God has helped me so far. God has helped me so far, and this has brought me to where I am today.
You mentioned how you define success. Some people define success as being materialistic, others define it as not being materialistic. So how do you define success in your own world?
Success to me is having an impact. That's just to me, having an impact. I see a lot of people around me. Like recently, a child I kind of nurtured sent me a message, and what caught my attention was the fact he made mention of a flower somebody breeded that cost $5 million, and he said he named the flower Juliet. Where he said, Auntie Juliet, to you, you're worth more than $5 million. That kind of made my day. And I'm like, oh, really? I've impacted in this person. So I felt really, really good. So to me, that's success.
Do you believe that the reason why you are who you are today is because of women that have trailblazed, a path for you? Are you riding on the giants of shoulders in your life?
I have a lot. I have a lot of them, starting with my mom, my adopted mom, Mrs. Olaniyan, Mrs. Modupe Ajiboye. I can't mention, but these women, the few I mentioned, have really impacted in my life. They've been a factor that motivates me, and till today, I thank God for allowing our paths to cross.
Now, what is your advice for boys and men out there when it comes to how they can support the women in their life? How can they amplify the voices of women?
Well, in that regards, firstly, respect. A few weeks back, somebody made a post in a group where I belong, and the pictures were not pleasant. I had to exit the group. And when he called, I was like, Julia, why did you exit? I told him, I said, I'm a woman, and I would not tolerate you devaluing a woman. And he was like, I'm sorry, I never meant it that way. So I think the first thing is respect. What is the value of a woman to you? I always said my late husband was my best friend. I never had any friend before and after marriage. I could discuss anything and everything with him. So let's learn to respect the women around us. It really makes us feel valued.
I fully agree with you. Now, Juliet, you have a camera right there. Look into that camera and describe why you're a woman. Saying, I am woman because camera is yours.
Well, I'm a woman because I'm created to give life, to nurture a generation, and to also impact. That's why I'm a woman.
Juliet, the day is not over, but here on our show, on the Tegan Show, we want to celebrate you. So we will be sending you to the Maryland Mall to shop for whatever you want. It's on us. Don't go anywhere. There's more of our phenomenal show coming right up. Hey guys, for more Tegan, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Tegan Show. Follow us on all our social media handles at Tegan Talk Show and visit our website, teganshow.com. Join the conversation and of course, join the party. My next guest is on a mission to end sex trafficking and sexual exploitation around the world. Please welcome Ruth Evon Benson-Idahosa. Ruth, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thanks for covering this important subject.
How important is the topic of sex trafficking and sexual exploitation right now?
You know, I think it's actually part of the unfinished agenda of our time. I think the reality is that, you know, we have about 40 million people who are currently trapped in some form of human trafficking. That's more than at any other point in history. And this is something that's generally referred to as hidden in plain sight. And so, particularly in the context of Africa, we see everything from children who are out of school, who are begging on the streets, to child brides who are being forcefully married before the age of 18, all the way to sex trafficking and people who are living in debt bondage. And so it is absolutely imperative because this is something that's happening to somebody that you know, regardless of whether or not you are currently conscious of the reality of it.
Can you give us some numbers when it comes to the number of victims who fall prey to sex trafficking?
Well, I think the numbers, according to the International Labour Organization, are about 40 million people globally. Within Nigeria, it's estimated that there are about 1.3 million people who are currently enslaved. But I think that number is grossly underestimated. I mean, because the reality is that when you think of the number of children that you see on the streets every day who are out of school, who are on the streets begging, or the number of children who are being forcefully married, particularly girls, a lot of the times, those numbers are not even counted. They're not incorporated into the day-to-day reality of what's actually happening. But generally across the world, we say about 40 million people.
You are the founder of an organization that is known as Pathfinders Justice Initiative. Tell us more about this global mission to end the burden of sex trafficking and sex exploitation all over the world.
Well, I think what we're really trying to do at the end of the day is what I refer to as structural transformation of both the narrative for African women and also the economic landscape for African women. And one of the ways that we're implementing that on the continent is through looking at the issues that relate to violence against women, and in this context, particularly sex trafficking. And so what we're doing, working from Nigeria, is working to not only provide protection for people who have already been trafficked, but looking at ways to actually prevent sex trafficking from happening. In Nigeria, particularly from Edo State, which is my home state, we are essentially known as one of the largest hot spots for trafficking on the African continent. And so what we're working to do is look at the actual root causes of what is underlying the proliferation of trafficking globally, and then working to end those.
Men need to be part of the conversation, but also the work when it comes to ending sexual exploitation and sex trafficking. What ways can men get involved in this work?
Well, at the end of the day, I think the reality is that, patriarchy is really what is underlying a lot of the subjugation of women and girls. And in control of patriarchy, at the seat of power, are generally men, right? And it's important that we include them as gender allies in this conversation, because the unfortunate reality is that men tend to listen to men. And so it's important that as we're starting to develop interventions, as we're starting to think about global dynamics and how how to generate an entire shift in mindset, that we incorporate men into the conversation because of the underlying power that they have to be able to shift the narrative in this discourse. And so I think it's everything from having men be a part of creating interventions to holding each other accountable, right? So when you hear men talking to each other and making jokes about the bodies of women, objectifying women, laughing off things like rape, those conversations have to be led by men who have the courage to be able to put a stop to things like that.
One of the things that I love about the work of Pathfinders Justice Initiative is this push to raise awareness. What are some red flags that girls and women can be mindful of when it comes to sex trafficking?
Sure. I mean, I think it's one of the things that's most important is the reality that on a day-to-day basis, most of the people who are actually engaged in trafficking as traffickers are as recruiters are people that you know, right? And so they tend to give you this sort of familial sort of feeling where you feel that you're potentially safe with these people. In my context in Edo State, where our NGO is primarily based, the reality is that 1 in every 3 young women has been recruited into sex trafficking, and generally that's by somebody that they know. And so I think one of the things that you have to be mindful of is the fact that you have somebody in your context that you're familiar with that could potentially be taking advantage of you. I think another thing to be mindful of is the fact that you are dealing with people who don't necessarily have your best interest in mind, right? And so I think it's important that you're looking for signs of trafficking. You're looking for people who are promising you the world and promising you an opportunity, but don't necessarily have the information to back all of that up.
So who you are today, your parents poured a lot of love and instilled so much wisdom in who you are. Your late father, Archbishop Benson-Idahosa, your mother, Archbishop Margaret Idahosa. How much of who you are today is based on your upbringing?
Well, I would say, I'm certainly grateful to have had these 2 amazing Amazons as parents. I think it's important that people understand that in addition to being raised, in this household, what got to see was really have them embody the idea that you are doing yourself a disservice if you leave the world exactly how you met it. And so we grew up with this concept of always influencing the privilege that you have to ensure that things are actually different. So I always say that privilege comes great responsibility. And that's certainly something that I learned from them. But I think on my own, I've also, with the privilege that I received, my training as a lawyer, and also the God-given capabilities that He's given me, have been able to hone that the gifts, have been able to hone my own purpose, which I usually describe as my unique creative energy, in a way that has ultimately culminated to the woman that I am today.
And last question. Before we go, I want you to end our show with this statement. I am phenomenal because...
I am phenomenal because I am unapologetically who I am, courageously doing what I was born to do.
Thank you so much for being on our show. Everyone, clap it up for Ruth Evon Benson-Idahosa. We'll be right back.
I am a woman because I'm prospective.
I'm a woman because I'm fiery.
I am a woman because I'm independent.
I'm a woman because I'm productive.
I'm a woman because I'm a home manager.
Welcome back. Now, my third phenomenal woman for today is Chef Uche Uzoka. Give it up for her. Welcome to our show.
Thank you so much.
She is not a new face to some of us, but some of you guys might just know her for the first time. She has this popular gourmet twist business, banana bread business, known as Gourmet Twist. And they have some good banana bread. How do you do it all?
So what I'll say is it's not easy for one person, one woman to run a successful business. What I'll say is delegating always helps. I have a very supporting spouse that supports me in everything, supports me with the kids, supports me with the business. In the business aspect, I have staff that I've delegated so many roles to, because as you start growing a brand, you realize that it has to live off of you. You can't do everything yourself, right? So you start delegating roles to different people to handle other things so that there could be a successful business.
How did the idea of Gourmet Twist come to mind?
So right after school, I decided to go to culinary school just to enhance my skills in cooking and learn the continental art cuisine, right? While there, I started meeting different people that had successful businesses and just wanted to sharpen their skills. People that came with the mind of, I'm going to start a business right after. And then I realized that I had to sit up, right? And then after the culinary school, I went to intern at Renaissance Hotel, now Radisson Blu. While I was there, I started identifying the path that I wanted to go in, being in the food industry. And I decided to go to food, right? While at food, COVID came and it just threw everything off balance. And then I said to myself, you have breads going on, why don't you just focus on it? You don't need to go to the market for runs. Everything was on a shutdown and we focused on the breads. And it just blew up from there.
Wow, it's like a sensation. I see you on social media. Now I want to know, nobody knows what it means to walk in your shoes, but what have been some of the highs and lows of being a forward-thinking woman navigating the hospitality landscape?
Okay, so in Nigeria, right, business, everybody knows businesses as a man is supposed to do the business, right? As a woman, you need to own that space that has already been dominated by the males, right? You need to be confident in your brand, confident in yourself, because the minute you start to talk about your vision with confidence, you begin to command respect from different people around, and it just all works together in your favor. People start to appreciate your brand, people want to be associated with your brand, and it just grows. So
it just grows, but the first step is starting.
Starting. You need to take action.
And there are some times whereby people are like, they're not ready to start. So how do you convince, women out there that you can start from anywhere?
Yes, so you need to take action, That's what I always say, right? You can't keep dreaming, oh, I wish I could be like her. I wish I could have my own business. You need to, the difference between a dream and a goal is taking action. So you need to start, you need to first think of your purpose, think of what you're good at, what can I do, right? Once you've thought about that first, then you know, okay, I need to go and get some training for this. I need to just post. I started baking in my kitchen, right? My oven could only take 8 breads at a time. I had only 8 pans. So as it's coming out of the oven, we are washing, it's coming out of the oven, we're washing.
Yeah.
But now we bake over 300 breads a day or even more, right? So you just need to start. The growth will come. Put in the hard work, persevere, be consistent, and it all work out for good.
When it comes to Gourmet Twist and your vision for Gourmet Twist, what is that vision?
So for Gourmet Twist, I see it as a globally acclaimed brand, right? Just from the people that are eating the breads, the way people talk about it, what's banana bread here, you get, and we get amazing reviews from people, we get good feedback, people are taking the breads out of the country. Hopefully one day we'll have Gourmet Twist first in different states, then hopefully out of Nigeria. So I believe that the brand is growing so fast and it will go really far.
So Maya Angelou has this quote about being phenomenal, or I'm a phenomenal woman. So I want you to complete this before you go. I am phenomenal because
I am strong, I am powerful, and I am beautiful.
wow. So here at Tegan, we are celebrating the wonderful nature of women. We want every member of our audience to be connected to the women they love and the women in their lives. So we are recharging your phone cards for every member of the audience. Plus, women make our lives sweeter, and we will be giving every member of the audience some gourmet, delicious goodness.
Wow.
Are you ready for? Are you ready for? Are you ready for?